Okay, so I'm just going to really explain some really basic concepts. I'm going to go through essentially what chiropractic is and how it basically works as far as the neurological point of view is concerned. So when we're looking at chiropractic, essentially the main thing that we're focusing on is your brain. Okay, so when we look at the brain is the master controller. It works a little bit like the hard drive on your computer. It's where all of the information for pretty much everything is stored. Now, chiropractors focus on this bit a lot, which is the spine. And the reason for that is it's the means of travel up and down of information to and from the brain. So what does that basically mean? So if we have a look, there are two real main things that we need to understand about the brain and the spinal cord. And the thing is that there is constantly information going in. Okay, so it comes out from the periphery. You can see that's not particularly clear there. Let's try a different color, see if it makes any clearer. There's information coming in, just going up towards the brain. Okay, and this is called afferent with an A. And then we've got information coming down from the spine, or down through the spine from the brain out, and this is called efferent. So we've got A for afferent, which is arrival, goes into the brain. And you've got E for efferent, which is exit, it's going away. Now, basically, chiropractic's point of view is we want to make sure is the information both coming in and out of the brain is completely clear. So say, for example, when we look at the spine, any changes in the movement of that spine is actually going to change the sensory input. So essentially, say, for example, the afferent input was a muscle, a joint, or an organ, and there was some level of damage to that, the information going in is going to then be obstructed or changed. Okay, so if the information coming into the brain is changed, then all of a sudden the output has changed. Now you can think of these, if there's a change and it's a negative change, it's almost like uploading a virus onto a computer. What's basically going to happen is the hard drive is not going to process information properly, and as a result, what ends up happening is we get aberrant output patterns. Okay, so what we see in this is essentially stuff like compensations, e.g. Organs have to overwork, muscles have to overwork, joints have to overwork. We can see degeneration, we can see inflammation, and we can start to see pathology. Now, essentially, this is really the basic feedback loop, is that as chiropractors, what we're essentially doing is making sure that the muscles, joints, the organs, more so the muscles and the joints, have got the correct function. And if they've got the correct function, then obviously the brain starts to receive the right information. If the brain is receiving the right information, then the brain can send the right signals out through the efferent fibers to your muscles, your joints, and your organs. Now, some examples of what might happen is if this feedback loop is broken, say for example, if a joint isn't working correctly, the brain does not receive information. Say for example, that information is based around balance, and you try to balance without good sensory input from the afferent, all of a sudden someone's balance is going to change. Now there are three things that will help you with balance: ears, eyes, and proprioception. Now for most people you need at least two of those in order to actually get the body to work. And if two of those are both gone at the same time, then balance becomes really difficult to manage. And so really our job is basically to check the afferent inputs, correct those so that the efferent outputs work properly, and so people's body can actually start to work properly again. I'm going to give a few more examples of why this starts to happen in some future videos. Bye for now.